Ever come across a morally great character? This is someone who lives by a consistent moral code that deviates from social standards of right and wrong. Having explained that, don't you think that morally great characters represent the very fabric of human nature? You know how most of us want to be better people and do good things, but every now and then we sprinkle a little bit of hypocrisy on our morals. Now, so something happened to a certain Nigerian lawyer identified as Ayo Sogunro. In a Twitter thread, Ayo stated that he was visiting Abuja for a human rights meeting with several NGOs when he contacted his friends residing in FCT Abuja so they could all hang out. Now, mind you, this is something he would do whenever he visited Nigeria. His friends would welcome him at his accommodation and then they would share a drink or two and then gist away. Now, to the big gist. Of all his friends he texted, this his married friend was the first to get to the place. He said he had checked into the hotel around 6:20 p.m. and she got there at around 6:40 p.m. Barely 15 minutes later, 3 police officers came to his door and asked to be let inside. Of course, he denied them entry, as they had no authority to enter a private space without a warrant or a clear just cause. Saying as he wasn't threatened by their presence, they pushed him aside and let themselves in. On getting in and citing his friend, they asked her to come with them. They both asked why reluctantly, and the police replied that because his friend was a married woman, she should not have been in the hotel with him. After a number of back and forths, the officers got fed up with his refusal to voluntarily accompany them, and then they said they were putting him under arrest. But because he was still confused by what was going on, and the officers in question were not telling him who had sent them, how they discovered his room, or why he had been targeted, he sent out a series of tweets to alert the public. He later met with the DPO at the station and was countered that Abuja, being in northern Nigeria, operates the penal code and that it was highly suspicious for a married woman to be visiting him, and the police were within their rights to have intervened and entered his hotel room regardless of not possessing a warrant. He further went on to ask for evidence that any offense had been committed, but she bluntly stated that she was not obliged to give him any evidence. To cut the long story short, the DPO suggested that he was enticing his friend, that's the married lady, against the penal code. Can you imagine enticing an adult? Let's just leave that one first. So according to him, the statement sounded funny as his friendship with the married lady went back 15 years from their time at law school, and it was normal in this world that people, regardless of sex, gender, or marital status, visited him wherever he resided in Nigeria, and they were always hotels. Anyway, the DPO wasn't having it, so he slept in his cell for a day, after which he wrote a statement on the advice of his lawyer, and one of his good friends stood as surety for him. Fortunately for him, he was released afterwards, and by the time he was leaving, he was on good terms with all the duty officers and even with the arresting officers. Which brings me to my question, because I have a lot of questions. Now, while I agree that the Nigerian police acted within the ambit of the penal code for requesting his presence at their station, the way and manner they went about it will still be up for debate. Now, I'm asking on a different ground, now this on a moral ground. Is it right for a married woman to visit a man in his hotel room unaccompanied? I understand that the invitation was to most of your friends in the area, and she happened to come first. But why not meet at the bar in the hotel, pending when your other friends are around, to avoid stories that touch? This is Africa. Also, is Abuja now a northern state? Because I don't understand the northern Nigeria under the penal code statement. The Federal Capital Territory I thought belonged to every region and for no region. Now, why didn't he, that is Ayo Sogunro, sue them? Was it because they managed to get on good terms afterwards? I mean, let's go over it again. Arrest without a warrant, false imprisonment and detention, forceful coercion into writing a statement. Are these not all offenses? There is a statement I resonate with, and it states that there can be as many wrong reasons to do the right thing as there are stars in the sky. There might even be more than one legitimate right reason, but there is never a right reason to do the wrong thing. Not ever. Guys, what's your take on this? Please let me know in the comment section below. Many accidental firearm discharges occur due to inexperience, and in some cases, the person has never carried a firearm before, and this is why this particular story is sad. A pregnant woman and her unborn child died last week in the US state of Ohio after her 2-year-old son shot her in the back with a handgun left loaded in the house, the police said. Police Chief David Smith told local media on Tuesday that 31-year-old Laura Ilg had called 911 in the afternoon of June 16. She had explained that she was 33 weeks pregnant and a 2-year-old had accidentally shot her in the back with a firearm. When the police arrived, Hilda told the officer that her son had somehow gotten into the usually locked bedroom while she was doing laundry and started playing with the gun before the accidental discharge. Luckily, Il was rushed to the hospital on time, but unfortunately, her unborn baby could not be saved after an emergency C-section, and she also died from her injuries hours later. According to the Pew Research Center, about 40% of US households have guns, with most of those also including children. So if this is the case, there should be safety measures put in place. There are safes where they can be kept. And if you don't want to get a safe, at least unload the guns. My sincere and heartfelt condolences to the family, friends, and all those affected by this tragic passing of a young mother and her unborn son. It is well.